Studio 31.
You're watching WWAY News at 10.
Peddling petty crime tonight, a disabled military veteran speaks out after someone stole his adaptive bike. Plus, new details on a massive search at the New Hanover County landfill. 2 people now in custody, what we know so far. And a busy weekend of water rescues, why local agencies want to avoid a busier week by urging you to stay out of the ocean. Thanks for joining us for the CW at 10. I'm Jeff Rivenbark. We begin with the latest on a teenage girl who has been missing since last week. The New Hanover County District Attorney's Office confirming in court today that officers have been searching for 16-year-old Myona Jones at the county landfill for the last several days. 25-year-old Jerice Jones appeared in court this afternoon on charges unrelated to the missing persons case. During today's hearing, the district attorney's office said Jerice has a history of sexual assaults in New Hanover County, which is why he is registered as a sex offender. Jerice has been in custody since Thursday for being alone with a minor in his vehicle. That minor is 16-year-old Myona Jones, his half-sister. Jerice was ordered to not have any contact with his girlfriend, 27-year-old Randy Johnson, who also appeared in court on obstruction of justice charges that are connected to Myona Jones. The DA says Johnson has single-handedly stood in the way of the Wilmington Police Department's investigation into what happened to Myona.
And based on everything we know, we believe that horrible things have happened to this child. There are teams of people at this moment and have been for days searching for this missing child at the New Hanover County landfill.
Jerice Jones's bond remains at more than $1 million on unrelated rape and kidnapping charges. Johnson's bond is $100,000. The judge ordered they be monitored with electronic monitoring devices if either post bond. Both of their court dates are now set for November 17th. Wilmington police say one person is in custody after an officer-involved shooting earlier today. It happened near the Indy West apartment homes in the 3900 block of Independence Boulevard. Police say no one was injured and the investigation is ongoing. In Oak Island, police continue looking for a Bolivia man who allegedly set fire to the Oak Island Masonic Lodge yesterday afternoon. Firefighters had the flames under control within 45 minutes. After an investigation, Oak Island police issued a warrant for 34-year-old Wesley Heckendorn on 1 count of felony burning of a building. The Brunswick County Sheriff's Office is also searching for Heckendorn as part of a missing persons investigation. If you have any information on where he might be, you're asked to call 911. Veterans Day is just days away, and one veteran in Wilmington is calling on the community for help to find his bike. Kevin Hebert is a disabled veteran who lives in Wilmington. When he was 19 years old, he served in the U.S. Air Force, and that's when he broke his neck, paralyzing him from the neck down. Eventually, Hebert worked his way up to being able to walk for short distances with a brace. However, he says his life changed when he got an adaptive bike from the VA. That bike was stolen from outside his apartment on Saturday morning.
It's been a lifesaver for me getting around and about, and it means a great deal to me. So if anybody out there has seen this bike, I'd really appreciate any information at all that we can get.
If you have any information about the missing adaptive bike, call Wilmington Police. We'll have more on this story tonight at 11. A few beach rescue crews were busy over the weekend in parts of the Cape Fear. Carolina Beach Ocean Rescue and Curie Beach Ocean Rescue responded to at least 6 water rescues. All of them were minor, with just one person assessed and released on the scene. The rescue crews say rip currents and seas were rough this weekend, leading to the high number of calls. And Oak Island Water Rescue says you should stay out of the water this week due to an increased rip current risk from subtropical storm Nicole. If you have boating plans this week, be sure to check the marine forecast prior to heading out on the water, as sea conditions will be hazardous through at least Friday. Some improvements are coming to one busy intersection in Wilmington just north of UNCW. The construction is part of a transportation bond project, and work should go on for about 5 months. Traffic patterns will vary as the work goes on. A right turn lane is being added on Racing Drive, as well as new curb ramps and sidewalks and pedestrian signal crossings. Once complete, the $620,000 project is expected to reduce traffic congestion and increase pedestrian safety in the area.
It is, I think, oftentimes used as an alternative to College Road, in addition to a way to access the businesses and, of course, many apartment complexes and things that are along Racine Drive. So for a lot of people, they'll use Racine, say, coming from Eastwood back towards campus. And it's a needed improvement in a very busy section of town.
Although traffic will be allowed through the area during the project, drivers are encouraged to avoid the intersection unless it is necessary. Pedestrian detours will also be in place to guide sidewalk users around the work zone. A fishing tournament in Wrightsville Beach raised nearly $19,000 for the Lower Cape Fear Life Care and Hospice. The inaugural event took place from October 21st through the 29th and was hosted by Intracoastal Angler. Organizers say the tournament was catch and release only to sailfish, with tuna and wahoo side prizes. In 2 days of fishing, the participating boats released a total of 22 sailfish. First place went to Dock Bees, owned and captained by Taylor Pleasant. New Hanover County Fire Rescue will continue its support for the Muscular Dystrophy Association with its annual Fill the Boot fundraising campaign. The yearly event kicks off tomorrow, raises funds to help transform the lives of people with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other muscle debilitating diseases. Firefighters will be at several intersections in the county Tuesday through Thursday from 8 till 5, depending on calls for service. They will have boots in hand, asking pedestrians and motorists to donate. We have the list of those intersections on our website at WWAY-TV3.com.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 AccuWeather forecast, brought to you by Saltair Heating and Cooling.
And a good Monday evening. After an unseasonably warm day in the Cape Fear, including a record-tying 84 degrees in Wilmington, we're tracking a cold front that's approaching the Cape Fear this evening. Isolated shower activity in portions of Robeson County, also Duplin County. I think most areas escaping any showers through the evening hours as this front begins to build in. Definitely mild out ahead of the front. We are in the middle 60s out there. Skies are mostly clear to partly cloudy at this hour. Your forecast for the rest of the night calls for the front to come in. It'll begin to cool things off. The humidity will drop, and also winds may pick up late tonight as lows drop into the upper 50s. We'll talk about the breezy winds ahead for the next couple of days. The latest track on subtropical storm Nicole, too, coming up.
Lee, thank you. Election day is tomorrow. Up next, how many people have already voted and what to expect if you're going to the polls tomorrow. And later, a snapshot of the state of race to replace Senator Richard Burr, with Ted Burr and Sherry Beasley making final pitches to voters.
Support Toys for Tots by bringing a new and unwrapped toy to WWAY in Leland through December 15th.
This is the place to read a good book.
The general election is tomorrow, and Board of Election officials are offering a few reminders to ensure your trip to the poll runs smoothly. As WWAY Celeste Smith reports, election directors in Brunswick and Bladen counties say they want people to know their precincts and who and what is on the ballots before going to the polls.
Election officials say they saw a strong turnout during early voting. As of Monday, more than 6,700 ballots have been cast in Bladen County, and more than 48,000 have been cast in Brunswick County. Bladen County Board of Elections Director Christopher Williams says based on early voting turnout, he expects to see a rush of voters at the polls on Election Day.
I think it went real good. We have done over 30% for voter turnout just one stop alone. Just due to research before they go on the people that they want to vote for. I just hope for a good voter turnout. I'd love to see 100% voter turnout. I want for everybody in Bladen County to vote because I am totally 100% pro-voter.
Brunswick County Board of Elections Director Sarah Levere advises voters to ensure they are registered to vote, find their appropriate precincts, Look at sample ballots to know what they will be voting on, and be prepared to possibly wait in line to vote.
It's very hit or miss. I think if you encounter a line, just be prepared to wait. We are going as fast as we can. I do think it's important that people know if they get to a polling place late and they are in line at 7:30 when the polls close, they will be permitted to vote as long as they were in line at the close of polls. So if you pull up at 7:25 and you see a long line, don't leave thinking you won't be permitted to vote, because as long as you're in line, you're good to go.
LaVere also says voters need to be prepared to see electioneers at the polls.
I think that we've been pretty good during early voting, not having too many aggressive electioneers, but it could happen. Really, voters just need to know if they don't want to talk to those electioneers, they can just say no thank you and keep on walking. Of course, once they get within the buffer zone around the entrance to the polling place, that is a free from electioneering area.
In Brunswick County, Celeste Smith, WWAY News.
The Board of Elections offices in Brunswick and Bladen County spent most of the day preparing precincts, distributing supplies, and voting machines in preparation for tomorrow. We reached out to the Board of Elections in Columbus, Pinter, and New Hanover counties, but did not hear back. Two new polls of the Senate race to replace Richard Burr show Republican Ted Budd leading Democrat Cherry Beasley. The latest Data for Progress poll conducted between November 2nd through the 6th with more than 1,300 respondents has Budd leading 51 to 45 among likely voters. That data matches a new East Carolina University poll conducted between November 1st through the 3rd with nearly 1,200 respondents, which has Budd leading 52 to 46 among likely voters. Just 1% of respondents say they're undecided, with another 1% supporting some other candidate. Beasley remains confident that she can pull off an upset if there's high turnout.
I'm going to ask you the next time you go to Food Line or to your coffee shop and your barista is there, I'm going to ask you to talk to them about voting. When you do that, it matters. When you lift up these issues, and folks are likely to tell you what they care about in the first 2 sentences, then you engage them. And it matters. Often people just haven't thought about the fact that it's time to vote.
When asked what the most important issue was in determining their vote, 39% of poll respondents said the economy, 18% said abortion, and 15% mentioned inflation.
When you look at inflation, what we see right now is only half the equation. Let's go back to the great economist Milton Friedman. What would he say? Too much money chasing too few goods inevitably leads to inflation. And so when you look at the supply side, essentially we've been anti-energy under Joe Biden, you've been anti-work, and high regulations, which makes it harder on small businesses.
In the two polls, Budd leads in the eastern and western parts of the state, while Beasley leads in the Raleigh-Durham and Charlotte areas. And 3 presidents were out on the campaign trail earlier today, making a last-ditch effort to get voters to the polls. President Joe Biden was at Bowie State University in Maryland earlier tonight. Former President Bill Clinton was campaigning in Texas, and former President Donald Trump is currently holding a rally in Ohio. Average gasoline prices in North Carolina have fallen 3 cents a gallon in the last week, averaging $3.34 a gallon today. That's according to Gas Buddy's survey of 6,100 stations across the state. Prices in North Carolina are 14 cents per gallon lower than a month ago, but 11 cents per gallon higher than a year ago. However, the national average price of diesel has risen again, standing at $5.32 per gallon. Up next, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. What led the National Park Service to issue a warning to certain park goers feeling froggy? And Lee's got a look at your forecast to let you know how long you can cruise with the top down.
Closed captions for the hearing impaired.
Meteorologist Lee Haywood with your Storm Track 3 AccuWeather forecast. Brought to you by Saltair Heating and Cooling.
We have an election morning total lunar eclipse in the Cape Fear. My recommendation, if you can, get out and take a look at this because it begins at 5:16. The total lunar eclipse starts and maximizes around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then by 6:41 it is over. So again, that's very late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and it is rare to see an election day total lunar eclipse. The next one not until 2397. As we take a look at what's happening right now, well, we're taking a look at subtropical storm Nicole. It's about 400 400 miles to the east of the northwest Bahamas. It is going to be moving to the west over the next couple of days, and we think it's going to be strengthening as well. Winds are currently 45 miles per hour. Look at the forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. It takes it in a general westerly direction, strengthens it to near hurricane strength as it approaches the Florida coast Wednesday night and Thursday, then takes it on more of a northerly path as we get into Friday and Friday night. The latest Hurricane Center forecast track shows winds are 35 miles per hour or depression Friday evening somewhere across east central South Carolina. Moving up near our area Friday night, and of course that could give us some winds to tropical depression status and also some heavier downpours as well. So here's a couple of things I wanted to let you know about. One is for the next couple of days, the combination of high pressure building down from the north and what is Nicole is going to give us gusty east and northeast breezes, gale warnings, high surf, rip current issues. Also at the time of high tide, there could be some coastal flooding. So we're going to have numerous issues on the coast tomorrow into the day Wednesday, but no rain. It's not until we get into Thursday and Friday and what is left of Nicole comes up our way, that's when we have our best chance for rain. It would be Thursday night, Friday into Friday night, and then improving conditions for the weekend. Here's the latest detail on where the strongest winds are going to be. As you would suspect, it will be down across Florida, and then chances are we could see at least a low end risk for tropical storm force winds, and that would be sometime toward the end of the week. Right now, skies are partly cloudy at the Wilmington International Airport, 66 degrees the current temperature. Now we're going to be cooling down tonight behind a cold front, and that is going to make the difference in a noticeable change of air mass. We tied the record high today, my friends, at 84 degrees. Tomorrow, about 15 degrees cooler. There's your high pressure cell to the northwest, going to be bringing down cooler air. There's subtropical storm Nicole, which is going to be heading toward Florida. In between, we have this tightening pressure gradient. And you talk about pressure gradient because the stronger, the tighter it is, the windier it is. And so that is why things are going to get windy for the next couple of days. Tonight, mostly clear skies, cooler, less humid. We're middle and upper 50s in most communities as you head out the door for election morning. The good news, election day is going to be dry. It's going to be nice to head to the polls. Sunshine tomorrow with a high around 70. These are the wind gusts over the next couple of days. So winds are going to be an issue out of the north and northeast. Occasional gusts, 30 to 35 miles per hour. But other than that, we are rain free. Sunshine for election day, 70 degrees. Wednesday, partly sunny and 70. Chance for showers by late Thursday, and the best chance for rain associated with Nicole comes in Friday with Jeff. A better weekend, but much colder by next week.
Lee, thank you. Just ahead, small horse, big dreams. Why one German woman wants a Pony Express delivery into the Guinness Book of World Records. A German woman wants the Guinness Book of World Records to recognize one of her animals as the world's smallest pony. Pumuckl is a Shetland pony measuring just under 20 inches in height. Owner Carola Weideman says the pony only weighs 77 pounds. According to the Shetland Pony Club, a small or miniature Shetland pony should weigh around 260 pounds. Weideman has owned Pumuckl for more than 2 years. When he's not having breakfast in her kitchen or spending time in the paddock with other ponies, he tours kindergartens and senior citizens' homes as a therapy horse. Speaking of tiny, check out this bulldog riding around a football field in a tiny car. It happened this weekend during a timeout in the Middle Tennessee versus Louisiana Tech game in Ruston. Tech is an English bulldog who is the mascot for the Bayou School. The Bulldogs won the game 40-24. The National Park Service is once again warning people not to lick toads. The warning came during a Facebook post last week spotlighting the Sonoran desert toad, one of the largest toads in North America. The Park Service notes they have prominent parotoid glands that secrete a potent toxin that can make you sick. As the service continues, quote, as we say with most things you come across in a national park, whether it be a banana slug, unfamiliar mushroom, or a large toad with glowing eyes in the dead of night, please refrain from licking. A Central Florida man faces a host of charges after deputies accused him of shooting towards 2 people and pointing a rifle and laser at a sheriff's helicopter Saturday night. According to the Polk County Sheriff's Office, 48-year-old Kenneth Massey is charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He also faces charges for unlawful use of a laser device and discharging a weapon under the influence of alcohol. In a tweet, the Sheriff's Office said Massey told detectives that he did everything because he was, quote, being stupid. And a Southeast Florida woman is behind bars after a struggle over a sex toy apparently went way too far. St. Lucie County deputies say Saturday morning the man told deputies he had an argument with 34-year-old Chelsea White over a sex toy he owned. The man said he asked White to return the toy, but she refused. He then grabbed a purse which contained the toy and began to struggle with her over the bag. He then claimed White began biting on him after they fell on a couch during the fight. Deputies determined White was the primary aggressor and arrested her. Sports director Jake Eichstead is in Chapel Hill for a really big basketball game. The UNCW Seahawks taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels. The game's still going on, and the Seahawks are putting up a good fight. Jake will have all the full highlights coming up at 11. But first, next, Lee's back with after this break for the last look at your forecast.
Last look at that forecast. Waking up in the morning, it'll be a lot cooler and less humid. Temperatures into the upper 50s. Election day will bring some breezy winds, sunshine, temperature hitting to 70 in the afternoon, so it will be cooler than what we had today. Windy conditions and coastal hazards on Wednesday, 70 for the high, partial sunshine. As subtropical storm Nicole comes up the coast Thursday night and Friday, it's going to bring some areas of rain for Veterans Day and then cooler conditions by the weekend. Have a great night.